I think they like to go out.
Just about the live stream, so if I could have your attention, please, and nice ego. Something different eventually. What's when to go, man? We're live now. Okay. Welcome to everybody for our final meeting for 2020 for the year, December meeting of the council. I just want to make a little quick comment that what a challenging year it has been in a variety of different ways, with COVID and all the associated factors and the limitations in regard to border closures and all that. And I know the community should be congratulated because, you know, we escaped through that hard period with no positive tests, and so there's tick the boxes here, and I'll be making sure I thank them on behalf. But welcome, look forward to 2021 and bring it on. So we'll start the meeting. I've opened the meeting and need to do the live streaming statement. The Immadura Council wishes to advise members of the public that the council meetings will be recorded and will be available after each of the council's after each meeting on the council's website. All care will be taken to maintain the privacy of those in attendance. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed your consent is given in the event your image is broadcast. This includes any filming by television cameras if attendance is approved by the General Manager or Mayor. Acknowledgement of country item 3. I would like to acknowledge that we're here today on the land of the Wamba Wamba Pareppa Preppa people. I would also like to acknowledge and pay my respects to past Aboriginal elders, the present Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who reside within this area and their future generations. Item 4 is the statement of purpose. I come here as a councillor freely and without bias to represent the views of the community in considering the matters before us today, to vote in a matter that I consider in the best interests of the community, and to observe the code of conduct and respect the rule of the chair and the views of my fellow councillors. We've got a full call, so there's no apologies to the councils. The previous minutes have been circulated. Would someone like to move that those minutes be received?
Yep.
Moved by Councillor McCrabb, second by Councillor Betts. Any questions? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item 7 is disclosure of interest. Anyone who's got disclosure should have put forms into Belinda by now. No mayoral minutes, reports of committee, reports to council. Item 10.1 is the community garden meeting.
I'll move that recommendation.
Move the, we note the minutes of that meeting. Seconded by Councillor Wallace. Thank you. Any questions?
Oh, maybe just a comment, Mr. Mayor. It's really pleasing to see that the members of the community garden are keen to take up the recommendations from the recreation report and to become an incorporated association in their own right. So we'll be working with them to achieve that hopefully by early next year.
So that would mean they become proprietary?
No, an association. Yeah, incorporated association.
Okay, thanks for that. Moved and seconded. Any other comments? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 10.2, Cargo Hall Committee meeting. I've got the minutes of their meeting in November. Someone like to move that we note those minutes?
I can do that.
Moved by Councillor Bull, seconded by Councillor McCrabb. Any questions or comments? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 10.3 is the Mayor, Councillors and General Managers meeting. There's a list of those that have been held there. Is there any questions on those at all? What we have decided to, what the consultation between Phil and myself is that we will document those council meetings that we've had and circulate them both to councillors and and executive management, just to fill the loop and also to make sure things don't slip through the cracks with those people sitting at the table. Because, you know, there's a lot on and sometimes you can just lose that. So at least to Belinda, and it's not minutes of the meeting, it's just notes out of the meeting, the key essential points.
That's just the weekly GM and
Yes.
Mayor and Deputy Mayor.
Yeah.
Then we got the first copy of this week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the first time, and so I thought I'd better mention it.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, it keeps everyone probably a little bit more in the loop, especially in these difficult times that we're going through at the moment. Any other questions? Someone like to move the recommendations that we note those meetings that have been attached there? Moved by Councillor Betts, seconded by Councillor McCrabb. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Resolution of council. Mr. Junior.
Mr. Mayor, this is a standard report, comes out every month to the councillors. It just basically documents the resolutions of council and their status at this period of time. There's a number that have been closed and a few that are outstanding. For example, on the first page of the attachment, the annual report has been resolved. So the process of getting that through to the state government is underway and will be closed by the 31st of December.
All right, is there any other questions on those resolutions of council?
Just a query, Mr. Mayor, through the regarding the airport loan, the representations to the Deputy Premier and Murray. Does that happen for the budget?
Yes.
No, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Through Mr. Mayor, there has been a number of representations made around funding for the airport. We haven't had any sort of response that will be favourable at this stage, but we'll continue to pursue those opportunities.
Yeah, the undertaking early was that if we got federal funding, the state would match that. Probably in the year we need to rev that up as much as possible. Any other questions? Comments? Would someone like to move the recommendation? We note the resolutions of council.
I'm happy to do that.
Moved by Councillor Bulls, seconded by Councillor Fogarty. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 10.5 investment report November.
Yes.
Thanks, Sonny.
Probably the major thing to note here is the low interest rates that we're experiencing at the moment, and we believe this will continue at least for the medium term. Following the last ARIC meeting, we will be looking at how we manage our investment portfolio in line with our investment policy as well. So looking at whether or not to get some expert advice on how to best manage that portfolio to maximise our returns. So we are asking council to make a report.
I'll have you move.
Moved by Councillor McCrabb. Second. Councillor Betts. Any questions? Comments?
Just a question, Sonny, the $3 million extra, like the balance has gone up, that's mainly RMS and bag grants. Is that for money we've spent already or is that in advance?
I believe that will be in advance, but I will double check that.
Any other questions? Moved and seconded. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 10.6 is the presentation of the annual audit statements.
This is just for noting. We've already gone through the financial statements with council and with ARIC, so this is just for noting the financial statements, and they have been out on public exhibition, which closes on the 24th of December. To date, we've had no submissions, so we're just asking for those reports to be noted.
Recommendations there. Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Fogarty, seconded by Councillor Menko. Any questions, comments? All those in favour? Against, carried. 10.7 is a request for water transfer.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So councillors are aware that council receives requests from the racecourse and from the golf club on an annual basis for allocation of water from the town allocation of 5,500 megalitres a year to assist them over the summer period. That's a process the council needs to resolve to transfer that water. The water doesn't impact the viability or security of the town supply. It's quite a good contingency amount for the town, even through sort of dry periods and drought periods. So the council staff are recommending that council approve the allocation transfer.
I'll move it.
Moved by councillor Rick, and the approval here is only for the racecourse.
It's only for the racecourse. Yeah.
I'm happy to second that.
Seconded by councillor Ball. Any questions or comments? All those in favour?
Aye.
Yes, carried. 10.8 is request for Plains Festival. Thanks, mate.
Yep, thank you, Mr Mayor. At the December workshop, the general manager from the Ute Muster, Deanie Palmer Plains, came and made representation to council regarding the reallocation of funding that the council would normally provide as part of a memorandum of understanding for support for the Ute Muster event. Unfortunately, this year the main event was unable to proceed due to COVID, and the Palmer Plains Festival are looking at another event, a separate event, occurring March 2021. So they've made a request to council to transfer that allocation of 25,000 cash contribution and up to 15,000 of in-kind contribution. So that amounts normally around $60,000. The event will only be a one-day event, only 2,000 people. Again, unfortunately, due to COVID, rather than the nearly 20,000 that they'd get for the multi-day Ute Muster event. So in reviewing the request, council staff can see the benefit in trying to get another event at the site. It secures the site and secures the organisation, and understanding to help and promote these events, get them off the ground, that the support that they're requesting is within the current operational plan. It is for a different use, but still within the current operational plan. So council staff are recommending that council reallocates the cash contribution and part of the in-kind contribution to the March 2021 event.
Right, thanks, mate. Any questions or comments?
So will they be still asking for additional funds come September?
I believe, well, the MOU has finished.
Yeah.
And so a new MOU for, what was the period, 3 years, 5 years? 3 years, needs to be negotiated before the 2021 Ute Muster.
So if this function goes ahead, the current one now, obviously we're going to be sitting down and working out a financial incentive to them for the two functions if they're going to hold it twice a year.
That's possibly right.
Yeah. So are they aware of the council's budget process that if we're going to do that,
We need to know in
we need
advance.
to go through the MOU or do a new MOU prior to budget time?
I would hope that we'd get it done before February because we need to know that.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that there would be any great variation from the existing one that seems to have worked pretty well over the last 3 years. This is a separate one, and yeah, there's a lot of discussions that you could have about the viability of it, about the need to, as Mark just said before, another event is what we've been trying to get for the last long period of time to underpin the facility out there and the investment in the facility out there, which has been quite significant if they got the money to build their museum. So they're the things that we need to put into balance now. Whether we treat this as a standalone issue, which it is,
I think we
or
need
you
to.
put it in the total MOU. I don't know.
I'm happy to move the motion, Mr Mayor. I think we did have an agreement within the MOU. We budgeted for this, and I think we treat the new MOU as a separate issue when that is presented to us. So I'm happy to move the motion as is.
Moved by councillor Fogarty,
Yeah,
seconded by
I'm happy.
councillor McAllister. Is it McAllister? Yes. Any comments?
Still have to do with medical.
All right. Comments or questions?
I wish them good luck.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I think we all do.
All right, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Claims item 10.9. Environmental Services Report.
Oh, it's just standard monthly report on the performance of the environmental services team in terms of the regulatory services such as Ranger, but also DA and building certificates. You see that there's a little bit of an increase in activity leading up to Christmas, which is reasonably normal. Notwithstanding that there's a few limitations in terms of the team's capacity at the moment, carrying some vacancies, which we're hoping to. We've got one more person on board there temporarily, and we're advertising for the leaders right into January. So hopefully that won't be too long. But nevertheless, the environmental services team are performing very well.
You might just want to make comment about the recent applications we've had from the developers in regard to the breakfast.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Mayor. We had in November the 25th, had a breakfast meeting with many people from the developers community. There was approximately 25 people from the community turned up to that. It's very productive and robust discussion about how we can increase the amount of development investment into Deniliquin particularly, but across Edward River as well. And since that time, we've received indications from 3 different developers around residential subdivisions. Some have already been approved, but there's some negotiations going on, so I won't get specific about what they are, but nevertheless, it's probably going to release over 50 lots into the development, offering within the residential space of Deniliquin, which is a very good step. Essentially, we need to see some homes being built and some spec homes, particularly display homes, to be offered around, and that will certainly help with the current dynamic where there's a lot of demand for residential houses and not as much stock as we would like, but also rental properties are at an all-time low, I would think, with a 0% or thereabouts vacancy rate. So, look, it's very important that we try and encourage the developers to increase their activity, and it certainly seems to be been a response from the development community following that meeting. So very happy with them.
Just for your information, I got told that Oak and the medical centre have put another doctor on, three kids, wife. They can't get suitable rental accommodation, so they're looking at a Chuka for him as a temporary to get down there. So it's it wasn't
It's a problem.
a
It's a big problem.
well, that's exactly right. So just a step in the right direction is 3 groups coming forward and wanting to do some development. So therefore, we must have the mindset to try and make that development happen as much as possible, instead of being full development, instead of putting up barriers. So just my thoughts anyway. So the environmental service report. Any other questions?
Yeah, can I just ask a question through Michelle? Just want to find out if someone submits a DA today, what's the turnaround for completion on a normal application?
It depends on there is a statutory timeframe of 40 days to be done. That includes obviously takes into account clock stops for when they're referred to with referral authorities. We are making a priority within operational policy of the team, that when you've got larger residential subdivisions, we put them on the top of the list. and could probably make no apologies for that, Councillor Metcalfe, just because we need to get this work happening. So I know I've specifically met and spoke to all of the people who are putting forward those developments and said we'll do what we can within our limitations to make them as fast as possible.
Good. Thanks.
I think you'd find, Nick, that the ones who are complaining about the time will be the ones who didn't complete the DA
Well,
satisfactorily.
that's where I'm wondering.
Information
'Cause that's
missing.
what I'm getting.
In fact, I got told the story the other day about someone was complaining about why a building couldn't be done, which was approved. They were told by the builder it was going to be approved, and 9 months later, they found out that he'd never even submitted a DA.
Oh, there you go.
So, you know, that's coming back from the community that it's not all doom and gloom, it's, you know,
That's good.
it's wheels within wheels. Any other questions? No? Would someone like to move that we note the environmental services report for November? Moved by Councillor McKeith, sorry. Seconded by Councillor Betts. No further comments? All those in favour? Yes, carried. Item 10.10 is road closures.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the Roads Act, road closures of more than 2 days are required to be approved by council and endorsed by the local area traffic committee. So relating to 2 roadworks projects that are upcoming, one's commencing, the other one will be upcoming early in the new year. Just provided a report regarding requesting the approval for the road closures. It'll be around a week to 2 weeks' time for each of the projects. As part of it, council with the contractors will put in a lot of notifications and information out to the community and also to emergency services, police, bus and taxi operators. So at this point in time, staff is just still working through the issue with the local area traffic committee to get their endorsement of the closures as well.
So when's the traffic committee meet?
A lot of this business, sorry, Mr. Mayor, is done over emails now, so which all members of the committee are very happy with, especially as the Transport for New South Wales members have to come from Wagga to come for like an hour sort of
And of course,
business
that's allowable.
Yeah. No, everyone's happy with that. We've last couple of years we've worked to try and have one face-to-face meeting, mainly around the traffic control plans for the U-Muster being sort of a major event and the impacts from that. So one face-to-face, and then a lot of the smaller business, like these road closures and the smaller events, are done by email, which is something everyone's happy to continue to do. There's a question around even if there needs to be a face-to-face for the U-Muster event over time. The traffic control for that has become more detailed and has been working better. So even that one could probably be done by emails unless any of the members of the committee had major concerns.
I think once you've established the right routine, you don't want to change it because the traffic compared to 10 years ago is moving a lot better through town during that week.
Yes.
Councillor Foley.
Yeah, look, it is a question on that, Mr. Mayor, around the representation to that committee and the work of the committee. Any councillors? Question through to Mark. Are there any councillors involved in that discussion, Mark?
I'm on it, Mark. I'm on it.
Councillor Metcalfe.
Yeah, I'm travelling pretty well. And the correspondence through emails is probably the only way to do it.
Yes.
Really. Like what Mark said, having a face-to-face meeting every year is probably quite suitable.
Okay, maybe it depends on the other people involved. I just recall from some past history that previously there'd been some real challenges put forward by the bureaucrats that really didn't meet community expectations. The things that were put forward were going to work well on their behalf. And one of those things was as simple as stop signs on every rail crossing through the town. when we have, one train a year on the tracks, and the community's compelled to stop every time they cross the crossing. So I think it's simple things like that can often slip through from a community perspective when they're not taken into account.
I noticed two of the stop signs, lots of crossings have been removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all gone,
Yeah,
except the ones.
there is, yeah, but there were others to be installed as well.
So for councillors' information, the members of the committee, there's a councillor representative, Councillor Metcalf. The police send a representative, Transport for New South Wales have a representative, and the community or the state member has a community representative on there, who at the moment is Russell Tate.
Yeah.
So there's the four members.
So he's Helen's representative.
Yes, yeah, on behalf of the community. So any issues that come up to the committee, there needs to be unanimous support from the four members for it. If it gets to a point where unanimous support can't be reached, or council, because it comes through the committee and then comes up to council, if council don't agree with what's coming from the committee or there's not unanimous support, it can go to a regional traffic committee, which is run by Transport for New South Wales. And it's good that these issues can be dealt with on a local level, which is where we want to keep it. We're finding a lot more support from Transport for New South Wales and their representatives than in previous years. We're finding their sort of understanding and
Change of personnel.
Yeah, change of personnel. So at the moment, sort of follow what Councillor Metcalf was saying, that the committee is working well. If there are big issues that come up through it, a lot of the time the committee's dealing with fairly small issues and dealing with it appropriately. If there are large issues that will come up, they'll definitely sort of come up to council and will be dealt with face to
Good,
face.
okay.
At the moment, all the members feel that it's working well.
That's good.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we need to move it in a second for that recommendation for the traffic control plans to be done.
I'm happy to move it.
Moved by
I'm
Councillor
happy to
Fogarty,
second.
seconded by Councillor Hall. No further questions or comments? All those in favour?
No.
Against, carried. 10.11, major projects, December progress report. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the monthly report on the major projects, mainly the grant funded projects, and how they're progressing and any issues with them. So staff have, in an effort to reduce it and make it more focused for the information that is required, a lot of the projects have been completed. So the background still has all the funding, but the report and the attachment is focused on the ongoing projects. The report also includes some discussion about some of the main projects that are going on at the moment around the roadworks, Maud Road and Portier Street, the work at the Town Hall, and the with Cressy Street being finished, but also just with the Waring Gardens project that is ongoing.
Any questions? It's good to see that list, because what about the 5 million on the original merger? There was an amount of 10.
Yep.
And 5 for infrastructure upgrade, or that's not on that list?
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so that hasn't been included on the list, just given that the $5 million, whilst it received by council, was very much supporting the administrative task, and that for council rather than towards community projects. Yeah, not so much a major project.
Any other questions? Councillor McGrath.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just the showground stimulus funding of 312,000, has that been spent or allocated? Or what's happened with that?
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mayor, thanks, Councillor McGrath. So that was as undertaken for work around the intersection treatment and also the fencing and seat replacements down at number 3 Oval on that. I'll have to follow up on what that amount was, whether the total was 300.
So what the intersection, that's off Memorial Drive into Which intersection?
So it's an internal, part of the internal roads where
Yeah.
Memorial Drive comes through, and there was the road that goes into sort of the football area, sort of where Rovers and that,
Yeah.
so that's been formalised where it was just.
And is that work being done? I
That
don't-
work's been completed, yep.
Nothing for that road round behind that bitumen road.
That was part of another submission that council made. The Crown Lands came to us and said, have you got any other projects under showground stimulus? And we said, yep, we have. So we put in for them, but unfortunately were unsuccessful in getting more funding for doing additional works there. So we'll continue to look for areas.
So that, sticking with the showgrounds funding, that didn't include the drainage works, or did include the drainage works?
It has included the drainage works. That's part of the same program that the change rooms is being done under. A different one, not a showground stimulus program.
Right, any other questions on the report? Right, someone like-
It's just a comment, Mr Mayor. I've just had a lot of people commenting on how good the town looks at the moment, both from the entrances through the villages and into the town centre. There's been considerable comments and congratulations on how good everything looks.
For 33 million, you expect something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No, that's good feedback to hear.
Mm.
I'll pass that on. Absolutely.
Councillor Wallace.
Mr Mayor, could I ask Mark, through you, what's the rationale in council doing the 2.5 on the Maud Road, the first 2.5 Ks?
Yep, through you, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Wallace. So that's around the requirement to sort of complete the project as the time frame, and whilst it's a long time frame, there's just been a delay in terms of getting confirmation of the federal government funding, and council's now received that, and we had a look at the program and are still very keen to meet the final time. The section of road, that first section of road, is where council in the last year or so have already brought up a lot of gravel. So it's actually the easier section of it.
Yeah.
It allows us to get the project going. It's the easiest section. It also allows us to understand the construction. So when we're working with contractors and there's issues around water availability and things like that, we've come and done part of that ourselves, and we can really sort of bed that down and allow a contractor to come in after it. So under the funding, there's no requirements that it has to be done by external people. A lot of the funding is that it's got to go out. Yeah, I've got to admit, that was my understanding as well. But we did have a look at it, and no, there's no requirement that it is that. It's under the same sort of funding program that the former Deniliton Council did Abattoir Road and did that road by itself. So no dramas there. And yeah, just a way of getting the project started earlier than waiting for contractors to do the whole lot.
And we sort of budgeted what that's going to cost. I mean, obviously it says reconstruction, so there's going to be a fair bit of gear out there, and that's a heck of a long way out there.
Yeah. The budgeting has included that constraints around it's a long way, and getting material up there, getting rock, water availability, and just the travel for staff and for contractors. Contractors would have the same issues. So at the moment, with operations, they're having a look at ways that for the section that we're looking at doing, how we can deal with the travel around camping, around longer days, just how that works to try and increase the amount of time people actually spend on the site.
The old Canargo Shire did 2.5 kilometres of that 10-kilometre gap. So
Yes.
they've been through that
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
So at least we should be able to learn what the traps were.
Yes. we should.
We've had contractors on that road camp in Rollerman before. It's half the distance from Denny.
Yeah. And look at, there's also the option for staff, so they'll ask around staff are doing the same. We're just gonna make sure that we're on top of any issues that may arise and costs around that. It may
Well,
not be cost effective.
there's also other costs involved
Yeah.
in having,
Mm.
living away from home allowance and stuff as well. Yeah. But, you know, the travel weighed up against the lost time in travel and expense for travel. You know, often it's, well, if contractors are doing it, it generally works out favourable, but they're often working different hours under different rules and regulations and working agreements than we are. So, certainly worth looking into.
Right, any further questions? Nice to note that we're still red-free in our chart and also one very minor yellow one, so tick, tick, well done. Someone like to move the report? Moved by councillor Betts, second.
Yep.
Councillor Fogarty, no further questions or comments? All those in favour?
Oh,
Against, carried.
I've just realised that I had a potential conflict of interest in.
What's item?
Now, we finished our general business. We need to move into confidential counsel. Someone like to move it by councillor Ball, second by councillor Betts. All those in favour, against, we will now move into confidential counsel.
We just need to stop streaming.
Yes.